Hello there, my friends. Welcome to the Piano Gym. The last time we met, we went over the 12 major scales, the 1-4-5s, and the 2-5-3-6. If you haven't watched that video, look for a link somewhere so that you can watch it and you'll be up to speed. So we went over on all the keys. We went over 5, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. On all the keys. We went over the 1-4-5s as well. Kind of like that. 1, 4, 5, 1. See, on the key of E, for example. So I am expecting that by the time you get to this video, you have done all that stuff so that it becomes easier for you to understand what I'm going to teach you in this one. Today, we're going to take a simple song, which is Amazing Grace, and I'm going to show you how you can use those 3 chords that we used in the very beginning, the 1, the 4, and the 5, to play the song. So let's backtrack and take a look at the melody. Let's break it down. The melody is very straightforward. It's surprisingly simple. And it starts off on G, goes like G, C, E, like that. G, C, D, G. Now, the surprising thing about this song is it does not use 2 notes in the C major scale. So you can rule these out, F and B. It doesn't use these. It just uses G, A, C, D, E. So all the song is in these notes. See that? Now, I want you to try your best to understand the flow of the melody so when we're moving into the chords, it makes more sense. Now, let's examine the 3 chords that we learned in the first episode. We learned C, which could be played a variety of ways. You could play it like this. The book says play it exactly as the fingers fall on the first 5 notes, which would be like this. But, you don't have to let your fingers fly up. You try to hold them as compactly as possible. Sometimes I play like this, depending on what I'm doing. But whatever works for you, try to find a convenient spot. And what we're going to do, we're going to play C, F, G, and back to C. Now, there's a trick I want you to learn here. You can play a second inversion of F. Like this is F over here, F, A, C. But you don't have to play it like this. You could actually take the F and the A and move them up and play it like this. So it becomes easier to move between C and F. Or you could do this and this. This is a little bit more convenient. See that? See those fingers? So you could do that C and F. Is going to help you when you begin moving across with the song. So it starts off with this note, but this note is contained in C. So it's kind of held. See that? So, amazing grace, how sweet. You go to F, the sound. Go back to C, that saved someone like me. Now, what we're going to do there, instead of moving 2 up like we did to go to F, like that, we're going to move these down. You see? So this is C to F, but this is C to G. So it becomes easy to do That's the entire song. It's just these. And you can practice that. It's a good exercise to be able to move from C to F, from C to G. Now, for me, I just play whatever I feel like in the moment. I don't make it academic saying it has to be like this all the time. Because I could play. It depends on how I'm feeling at the time. But for the purpose of this song, I really want you to get moving from C to F, C to G, like that. So let's try again. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved someone like me. I once was lost, but now, you can still do that same up there for F. Now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. That's the song. See that? So, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved someone like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. So when you play those chords on a beat to a rhythm, it now becomes music, a lot more musical. So let's try and play to a steady beat. So try and play to this. It's kind of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Amazing grace, C, how sweet F, the sound, back to C, that saved someone like me, to G. I once, back to C, was lost, now am found, was blind, but now I see. That's kind of the cadence. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saves, still see, someone like me. I was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. 3, 1, 2. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. And honestly, that's how music is played, my friends. That's how you apply it. You take those chords and the melody moves and the chords move. So let's take a look at the breakdown. Okay, I'm going to play the melody up here so that you get the idea of what is happening with chords, because there's a general rule that when you are playing the melody should be kind of covered in the chord. You should find some elements or traces of the melody in the chord that you're playing, or there should be a level of compatibility with the chord for most intents and purposes, under most circumstances, except in some other kinds of music and some other situations. So watch this. You see, that's in the chord. Both notes are in the chord. That's G, C, that's there. See that? Amazing grace, all covered in the chords. How Now, while D is not in the chord, it's compatible. I could also hold a D. I could hold a C, D, E, G, and it would still sound good. Take a look. You see that? It's all there. That is the ninth, and it's still a friendly note in the grand scheme of things. So as you begin to learn more advanced chords when you're playing the piano, you realize, oh, I can actually throw in a D and it sounds kind of nice. So instead of Amazing Grace, you could play Amazing. You hear that? It's suspended. It's somewhere there. And you can even put in a B. So you can even take away the C and sweet. How sweet. Now, I'm still playing that cluster. So I'm playing G, A, B, C, D, E. Now, what is making the sound fuller is the C that I'm playing at the bass. See that? Zen grace, how sweet. See that? And I'm playing a cluster as well. Sweet, the sound. Now, you don't want to do anything that extreme, but I'm being that extreme to show you that there's compatibility with D, C, E, depending on the chord. All right? So, Amazing Grace, how sweet. Now it's changed because we can feel that wave of the song going in a different direction, but you could have still stayed. Wouldn't that be boring to just play the song all through like that? So you got to understand that there's a suggestion, you know. So and we're following the suggestion. Amazing grace, how sweet. You see that C? That C is there in the F major we're holding. Back to C. Now the G is in the C. See that? Same thing. Now we're going to G, because that's what the tide suggests. But we could have played. I mean, we could have still played that, but it doesn't really make sense. Or we could have played anything with a G in it, but does it make musical sense? Like. That has a G, that's an E minor. Doesn't make sense, right? Musically. So what we're really doing is moving with the tide. See that? So you see the melody kind of follows the chord. And that's what I want you to get on this very first easy song. It's a very easy song. While I'm not playing the melody, you can tell that I am playing that song. But it starts off with no and the basic, like almost any song that's on a major key, purely major key. Most times I'm able to play them with just those three chords. But I could embellish this Amazing Grace song till, you know, the cows came home. I could choose to open it with a grand opening. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved someone like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved someone like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Was blind, but now I see. I see. All right, my friends, there you have it. Amazing Grace, the easy way, the jazzy way, the legato way. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Was blind, but now I see. I see. All right, my friends, I hope that gave you some hope that you're not going to be relegated all song long to playing. But there's a certain amount of discipline that's needed to stay on that cadence, you know. I'll make it a little bit more intense with chords that are not so way out jazzy. But for example, you could incorporate some major seventh chords like See, I'm not even playing the C here. This is just a G, B, D, E. Amazing Grace. See that? That's a G minor seventh. This is where all those chords that I was talking about come in, because instead of just playing Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound, you can play Amazing Grace. So that was just a G minor seventh, but instead of playing Amazing Grace, I decided to play something not as conventional. Amazing Grace. See that? So that's actually an A major of all things on top of a C. But for some reason, it works. So, you know, the elementary substitution would have been a seventh. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. But I did Amazing Grace. So that's a G sharp. That's a G sharp minor. I'll just make it simple. G sharp minor seventh. Moving down to a G minor seventh. You see that? Amazing Grace. So typically that wouldn't have gone, you know. Amazing Grace, amazing. See that? It shouldn't go under most circumstances. But because it's a very quick sleight of hand movement, it just works. Amazing Grace. See, those are just downward movements. Amazing Grace. Still the same minor seventh, which is why knowing your minor seventh chords and the different variations helps, you know. Amazing Grace, how sweet. Now that's really kind of off, you know, what one would typically do. Maybe, you know, like you got to be careful when you're backing singers up who are not jazzy, or you want to just keep it straight in the pocket, simple service material kind of thing. Because the moment you start going out, you're going to lose people who are singing in the congregation. So all this razzle-dazzle stuff is not for playing when you are, you know, with the congregation. Keep that in mind. This is just demonstration purposes to, you know, take it up a notch when you're playing alone or playing jazz with your friends. Amazing Grace. You could do, yeah, that will work. And that's just a whole tone scale with one of the notes singled out. So Amazing Grace. That's just a whole tone scale. That's F sharp, G sharp, B flat, C, D, E. See that? With a C sharp, because C sharp is the fifth of the F sharp. So instead of I played Amazing Grace, how sweet. That's like an 11th for G, the sound. Now this is an E major 7 sharp 5. Pretty much, no, it's not a major 7. E7 flat 5 and E7 sharp 5 sharp 9. And these are things I don't really take account of. I did in the very beginning, so I know what they're named. So let me explain. This is an E, B, E. That's like the husk of E, but this is the third note of E. This is the sharp 5. This is the flat 7, which is just called the 7th, even though it's not the major 7th, it's just called the 7th. And this G over here is the sharp 9. It's a very robust chord. It's an E sharp 5 sharp 9. E7 sharp 5 sharp 9 is a kind of crazy chord, but it's very helpful. And knowing it on all keys, my friends, all keys. I mean, I know this stuff on all the keys, like being able to move, and you can also suspend the same chord. But the husk of the shape, if you look at the bottom, this is an E, but if you look at the top, that's a G sharp major 7 with just a flatted fifth. But when you incorporate the E, it becomes something else. You got to name it relative to E. Hence my the little hesitance there. Okay, so amazing grace, how sweet the sound. That's a chord. And there's simpler versions of it. You could just play an E major, but it doesn't sound as dense. See, that saved someone. I do a lot of this because it's just jazz. So this is really just a D major. See, that saved a wretch. That's a D major. But when you suspend it with other things, it just sounds nicer. It's so neither here nor there. See that? So that saved someone like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. So that's in this chord. See that? And it's that G sharp major 7 flattened fifth. But this time the bass is not E, the bass is B flat. See that? So let me just play it through, and you can always go back and watch the tape. There's so much here to break down, but I'm hoping that as you watch it, you get the first level, and for those of you who are advanced, you can use all of this other stuff. And you know, there are people who play this even a lot more complicated than I'm playing right now. That's that A over C. Okay, well, I hope that gave you some further insights. The mystery of chords, substitutions, and many other things will become more apparent as you watch it over and over again. And don't be afraid of experimenting. Just remember, if you're playing this in a congregation setting, play it the easy way so you don't get into trouble. I used to get into a lot of trouble. Be careful. All right, take care. Smash the like button if you found value from this. See you soon.